Excuse me. Let's see. Hello, everybody. Whoopsie. I didn't mean to send that with the laugh emoji. Hello, everybody. This one's going to be a little different. I promised myself and I promised Miss Judy and I promised God that I would at least once a week, use my platform to praise him. Because when you can reach so many people, even if it's, a handful, when you can reach a group or multiple number of people, why not, use that ability to talk about God? If you want up on the panel, just request in. I'm not doing any drama. Hey, Vanilla. I'm not doing anything about Jip or Kenan or Mimi or anybody right now. This is just to praise God and lift some positivity in the air. If anybody has any prayer requests, if they want to share testimony, whatever. Hi, Kitty. I'm going to wait till a few people get in here and then we'll go and we'll start. It's only going to be for the next hour. But I do need to make sure that I don't get far from him. I don't want to stray from God. I want to make sure I at least one time out of my week set time to praise him. So since I've gotten on here, I think I've gotten a little carried away from that and not giving him the recognition and the thanks that he deserves. Hey, Midlife. If you would like up, just request a box. We are talking about God for the next hour. Momo, did you mean to request up? I know there's some people that are still coming. I'm waiting on them to join the live so that I can start. I've got 5. It's okay, Momo. That's why I ask, because it happens a lot. So, but I've got 5 scriptures that I'm going to read and kind of just go off or kind of explain, and if I, have my story to relate to them, I'll give them. I would like, if anybody wants to get on panel and share with me, that'd be great. I'm waiting on Miss Judy. Midlife, if you see Judy, tell her to hurry up. I'm waiting. So, well, there's a few. Hey, 5 is... that's a plural number. So the first one that the first scripture I wanted to start with was Romans chapter 8 as soon as my husband is verse 28. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him and who have been called according to his purpose. Now, this verse isn't saying that everything is good. It's just saying that God can bring good out of even the worst things. So Joseph was betrayed by his brothers. He was sold into slavery. He was wrongfully imprisoned. But God still was able to use his pain to place him where he could save literally thousands of lives when people were hungry. It was during a famine. And sometimes we really won't understand that purpose until much, much later. I know I have been there, literally on my knees screaming at the sky, why? And it was not until years later that I figured it out. And it's like, damn, he really does know what he's doing at all times. Thank you, TT. Like, I mean, whew, when I was growing up, y'all know I'm a trafficking survivor. And, you know, that's just what I, like, talk about the most. You know, I was also molested. I was abused as a child physically. And so, I mean, honestly, as a child, I don't think I even really, like, registered that I was being abused. I think it was just life. And it wasn't until I got into therapy and into that group home and treatment center for Stockholm that I started really noticing or knowing that I had lived a lifetime of abuse. And for like the next 2 to 3 years, I was in a really dark place where I just didn't understand why. Because, like, in my mind, I was happy. And I didn't really need the therapy to let me know that my life had not been good and that I had been living a life of abuse. I was really angry about that for a while. And then I got out and we moved. And I met a little girl that was literally living the same life that I was. And she didn't know it. And she wasn't going to go she wasn't going to therapy. Her parents weren't going to do anything. And it was because of me. And, you know, I didn't even find this out till later. But it was because of me that she, like, realized that her life, that what she was living wasn't normal. And she made, you know, the steps to get away from her family. And I didn't end up talking to her till she was an adult. And she told me that, like, I mean, she thanked me for always talking to her and being somebody that, like, she didn't think anybody got it until she met me. And I'm a firm believer, if you can even change one person, if you can help one person, you've done a lot. And so, you know, I don't look at, like, the power in numbers. Well, sorry, my kid. Yes, we do. We need to protect the children. Kids are so damn innocent. And, like, that is a statement that I think is really overlooked. I don't think people understand how deep that statement really is. Like, a quick example. I think I was like 5 or 6, and my mom took us to Miami Beach, and it was an orange flag day, but it was like an orange sock. It wasn't like an actual flag, but according to their system or whatever, when they wave this or they have this orange flag or sock up, it's because it's really high winds, and that can cause, like, it to shift, I guess, the sand or whatever. And so, like, you could be sitting on the beach 1 second, and then, you know, the next second you're like 50 feet down because of these winds or whatever. And I was, like, in the shoreline, and the next thing I know, I guess I was fighting for my life. But as a kid, I was so innocent. I did not even realize I was fighting for my life. Like, I am literally, like, wave after wave being pushed down, coming up and, like, gasping for air and being pushed back down. And this lifeguard came. And this is where, I mean, kids are so innocent. They really, truly don't grasp it. I really thought I was being kidnapped. I thought that this person was trying to kidnap me. Like, I'm fighting them, and they're, like, they had to scream to tell me that they're a lifeguard. I didn't even realize I was in the face of death. About to, like, literally drown to death. I was just, because I didn't know that danger. Like, I only knew stranger danger, you know? 1 second, you guys. Okay, sorry. Sorry, Allie. Sorry, Allie. I had to deal with my boys. But like I was saying, kids, I didn't even register because that wasn't a danger I knew. My mom had taught me stranger danger, or stranger danger. That's something I knew. So that's where my mind took it. And that's what I mean by kids truly are so innocent. They truly don't grasp it. And, you can take advantage of a kid successfully too because they don't get it. So, let's see. My tapper put me in airplane mode. It's okay, midlife. What just happened to my screen? There we go. The next one is Matthew chapter 6 verses 15 or 14 to 15. For if you forgive other people when they sin against you, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. Midlife. Yes, I will. I will read that at the very end. The forgiveness thing, that's something I'm still working on. Honestly, it's something I'm still working on. It sounds easy, and sometimes it even, like, when you're saying it, like, you feel like, I can do this. And then you face them, and you, like, it's not even that you're angry, like, at them. It's just, like, I don't want to forgive you. Like, me forgiving you feels weak. Like, I'm letting this happen. Or I'm okay that this happened. And that's really hard to get away from. Like, that's really hard to get out of that dark place because, I mean, it's natural. Who wants to forgive something? And it does. The world tells you that you're weak. Like, they'll look at it like you being kind or you even being cordial with somebody that did you so wrong is you being okay with it and, oh, they're weak. I would never. And that's where you have to be different. Okay? You would never, but I would. It's not me saying I'm okay with it. It's me saying that this is not something that I have to hold on to. I can forgive, you. I can forgive this. That doesn't mean that I want to continue anything with you. That doesn't mean that, I even have to say another word to you. And it doesn't mean that you have to tell them that you forgive them. But to forgive and just let go and not hold any anger for it. That's what that's saying, because we all live in a glass house. So, you can judge and you can be hateful and you can be angry, but don't forget that you have done things that other people are hateful and angry at you for. And if you want them to forgive you, or if you just want God to forgive you, you have to be able to forgive others. Oh, here, let me let you up, Allie.
Hey, girl.
Dang. I'm just doing because I promised God to, I would do this every Sunday, give an hour or so, up to an hour at least, of attention to God.
Nice.
So I know it's a stray from my typical, but I think I've gotten away from that. So
Yeah.
now this Matthew, so this quick explanation or whatever is forgiveness isn't saying what happened was okay. It's choosing not to let someone else's sin keep poisoning your own heart. Jesus taught this because unforgiveness often becomes a prison for the person carrying it, and forgiveness is about freedom as much as it is about obedience. I can agree with that. I still have some people, I'm still working on forgiveness, and it's kind of weird. It's like it's a weird scale because something like there's been some really really hard shit that's happened that I just really easily forgave because it happened so long ago that it doesn't, or it happened when, like, a lot of my childhood was easy to forgive because I didn't realize what was going on until I was in therapy. And then by that time, it was over. And so I didn't have a long time to like live in this agony, knowing that I was in agony. I grew up thinking abuse was very, very normal. It was just a part of life. And so it was very easy to forgive that. My children's father, absolutely not. I'm still, God forgive me, but I'm still working on forgiving because I lived miserable and in agony behind what he did while together and still after.
I haven't forgiven my abuser yet.
See, and that's normal.
Yeah. Even though he apologized and everything, I haven't forgiven him. I don't have to.
Right. I mean, right now you feel the anger, and like I said, you don't have to ever tell him that you forgive him. In fact, that's like a satisfaction I don't think is deserving to people who have hurt somebody. But for you, in your mind, at least one day you do, because there are things that you're going to need to be forgiven for.
Right.
And like I said, I ain't forgiven my ex yet either. So it's just hold on, who wants up? Judy said she was coming.
I invited them too. I just sent it to the group chat.
Okay, same.
Because it was funny because I woke up and I was on Coffee's live listening to Cation and everybody talk over there, and I fell asleep. And the next thing you know, I wake up and you're on here. So I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I got up, I got my son back around 11:30, and I put him down for a nap. I was going to do this way earlier, but I fell asleep like late last night, and so I slept in. Well, I was gonna do it today. I was hell bent and determined I'm doing it. So, okay, midlife. The next one is Luke 23, chapter 23, verse 34. It's into forgiveness too, but it's deeper into forgiveness. I know Momo does not want up. It was an accident. I don't know about Ivy Girl. Ivy Girl, are you wanting up? Did you mean to request? Hi, Boston. So that one, it's where Jesus spoke those words, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. It's okay, Ivy. Allie, if you want to exit or X that request out, you can, though. That is a very powerful, because even in his face of death, where he is literally being crucified and unalived, he's able to beg for their forgiveness because he understands that they really don't know what the heck they're doing. They don't realize the gravity of the situation, because there's so much stuff on this earth that, it does put doubt, and understandably, it casts doubt in others' minds, where they're like, I don't really know. And what I have been taught is a false prophet should be, executed. And if they believe or don't really know for sure, they're acting in this way, and he's begging them to forgive, or begging God to forgive them, because he understands that he's human, and God's not been human. So that one I struggle with too, because I'm sorry, but I don't agree with putting blame on children. So something you do as a child, I don't think you can be blamed for. And as an adult, I think you do know well what you are doing. And yes, you blame them because they knew what they were doing. They might feel bad about it now, and they can ask for forgiveness because, they're sorry about it now, but they knew what they were doing when they did it. If that makes sense. Hey, Judy. I'm here at work. What's happening? Oh, I'm praising God. I'm doing 5 scriptures and talking about them. It's about forgiveness and moving on. Yes, I said I was going to do it, Judy, so I'm doing it. And feel free to chime in if you want to, or say anything, or share a story. Let's see. I feel a certain way about churches nowadays. I feel the Lord is within you. Yes, Ringa. Absolutely. I can see where, because there's just so many. I think the church used to be it used to be different, and maybe it started off with a good idea, and obviously people saw the dollar signs in it, and so now there's big corporation churches, and pastors flying on TV and stuff like that. I can agree, but church doesn't have to be, at this church building. It can be wherever a group of people, like right now, we're together talking about the Word of God. That's church. That's a fellowship. It's wherever a group of people get together and they're talking about the Word of God. And that's what I think since I was 19. I haven't, I think I was 19 when I got baptized. But it was God, what is those churches called? They're not really Christian or Catholic or Baptist or what, like they just praise God. I forget what kind of church. I think it's like Neanderthal or non-denominational. There you go. So not Neanderthal, what the fuck? Non-denominational. Yeah, they are, I think what it was called was Hope or something in Texas. It was a really nice, it had a bunch of people that went there. I think it is a non-denominational. I think it was called Hope or something like that. It's big. It's like a large ass building. It's in Austin. And I was baptized there, but that was like the last time I really went to a church. I just don't seem to like the churches I've gone to. They, don't seem like they're really, they seem more judgmental than they are actually understanding and forgiving. So I have been doing my own praising God or talking about the scripture for a while, actually. Hey, y'all. Beeve or Ive? I don't know. Creative, huh? Got it. That's a cool way to say that. Creative. Anyways, now baptized and joined my church where I've been in recovery 5 years now. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Thank you.
I just wanted to mention this. It's off topic, but it gave me an option to invite hidden.
Oh, wow.
So I wonder if that means I'm unblocked or something.
More than likely. If she wants to join, she can. Like I said, we're talking about forgiveness here, right? So
there we go.
Yeah, we're talking about God. There's no place for hate. Anybody's welcome on panel. I wouldn't care if it was Sheena. We're talking about God right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna turn anybody away that wants to join that panel.
Right. I just thought it was funny.
Right. No, it is. Yeah, it is, guys. I didn't really struggle as long. Like I said, for most of my life, I didn't really realize that what I was living was actually, out of the norm or any type of struggle. I didn't suffer necessarily with like a certain addiction for years. I think it was just in general. I didn't really care, if it was smoking or drinking or popping or whatever it was. I did it. I didn't really crave or suffer like an addiction, if that makes sense. It was just everything. It was a party lifestyle or a wild lifestyle because it kept you going. It kept you like where you don't have to focus on the other shit because you're focusing on right now. And that I don't think was really, I don't know how to put, I think having a kid was really what made it easy for me to just like cold turkey, just stop everything. And even after having kids, I never like fell into, like I said, an addiction where I don't know, I lost everything. But I've seen others do it, and I can't imagine. Like, I can't imagine. I know that that battle has got to be intense. But I don't think or agree with saying one's battle is harder than the other because we're all struggling. If it was a battle, if it took you or almost took you, then it's no different than what almost took me because it almost took us. Yeah, like a battle is a battle. Be back listening to live. I fell asleep in last night watching comments. Oh yeah, yes. I love that. I've never heard him stronger than in my fight with crime. Exactly. Exactly. And anybody in the comments, if you want to jump up on panel and like, because you relate with the scripture, you have a quick, little experience you want to share, please jump up. That's what the panel's open for. It's only going to be, for this 45 minutes or however less it's been, or how much time it's been on since I've been on, minus that, because I'm only doing an hour. But I would like people to jump up and interact. The next one is Psalms 34:18. Now this one I really, really, really like. Like it's been one of my favorites because I have been through a lot of struggle. Once I figured out and was really like taught, hey, this is wrong. That is like when it hit, like that's when I got like really depressed and really just, I went through a struggle because I didn't understand why. Like I said, I hated them. I was really angry. Why did I have to know this? Like I was perfectly happy and perfectly fine with my life. So why would they do this to me? Why would they break me? And the scripture is, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. I don't think I could have ever been saved. I wasn't crushed in spirit. I wasn't brokenhearted. And I don't think I would have ever even had the opportunity to be saved if they didn't break my heart or crush my spirit, so to speak. I was blissfully okay, blissfully ignorantly okay with living abused, living being trafficked, living just in this hell and not even knowing that it's hell. And that can quickly become very dangerous. I could have very easily became a monster or a predator myself if I had not went through a program that told me this is wrong. You're not okay. This life is not okay. These things are not okay. This is not normal at all. And I thank God for that. Like, thank you, because fuck if I had not been broken. Like, it scares me on what I could have became. I would have never wanted to be a monster, to be a predator. And I would have never even noticed or thought anything wrong of it. Ringa, don't carry guilt. Guilt is not for you. There's a healthy level of guilt. If you do wrong, you do wrong. You feel it, and you should feel it. There's some things in my childhood that I'm not quite ready to say yet, but to this day, I still work on the guilt from it, even though I know I was a child myself, and I didn't know. I didn't realize I was in any type of danger. So why would I think that, anybody else would be in danger if I had them come over or whatever? And I still carried that guilt because it was me that had them come over, or it was me that was hanging out with them. So don't carry that on you, though, because apparently carrying guilt, like, it clouds your vision into to being able to forgive. Daisy. Shorty. Come on, Shorty. Come on, girl. That's a good girl. Hold on, y'all. Get my doggies. Come here. It's okay. There you go. Okay. I'm not denying that. I'm impressed. Thank you, Hairspray. Survival mode. Absolutely. So, yeah, that is something that, and I'm still kind of learning about survival mode because, again, even when I was younger, I didn't really know I was in a danger or anything until I was out of it and they were explaining to me. I was really angry. Like, y'all, if I had a video camera on me back then, I'd say I'd laugh, but I'd probably cry watching it because when I say I was I was angry at everything, everybody in my life, I was so angry because I felt like I was being punished, like that I was locked up when I was in a group home. Like I was so angry because I didn't I didn't know that I was in danger. And so for like more than half of my treatment, it was getting me to understand that this is treatment, that this isn't me being like locked up or punished. And once that happened, I was angry at them again because then I learned what my reality was, and I was pissed off that they had the audacity to tell me this. Like, why did I need to know this? And I know now why I needed to know it, but I think a lot of people, like, you won't figure that out until you're out of survival mode. And I don't think people will even recognize that they're in survival mode. Definitely now, but not from like not from my child history, just from my ex. I've been in survival mode for a while now as a single mother and just having to put one foot in front of the other. But I wouldn't consider that like a trauma survival mode. I think that that's more of a just life's hard, like hard times survival mode, if that makes sense. My treatment, you have to disassociate with the people that you hung out with, that you thought. Hi, Hannah. My treatment. What do you mean creative? Yes, well, Ringa, and I'll say this like a therapist told me. All emotions are normal. Just because you're sad or angry or whatever, it doesn't mean it's not normal. Like it's every single emotion is normal. It's normal to feel it. It's normal to feel, a lot of it. I don't, like I said, it's normal to feel all of them. And your sadness and your anger, it's not because of, what was done. Honestly, I think it's because there's just not a lot of understanding or a lot of people around it. Like when a woman who was victimized as a child is still having to explain to people in adulthood why they were victimized, or that that's what victimizing looks, it can make them angry because people still don't get it. Like when you've been telling the same stuff for 10 years, you feel like you've told the world, and people still don't get it, and that can anger you. But that's normal. That's what I'm getting at. It's normal to still feel sad. It's normal to still feel anger. And as long as you recognize it, you're good. Don't recognize it and be like, oh no, I shouldn't be feeling these things. No, you should feel them. It's what makes it healthy. It's what makes your body recognize and understand that this is wrong. And when you push those feelings away, that's when Stockholm and shit like that comes into place, because your brain is literally tricking itself out of the emotions it's feeling and putting other emotions in place just to feel better. Yes, all emotions are normal. They are creative. Like I said, when I was in therapy, when they broke me, it was a flashback. Some people have heard, they've been on my lives and they've heard I had a flashback, and that is when I knew that what I had been living through was a problem. Before that, I didn't even remember. Like my flashback, I had not even remembered that had happened until that flashback happened, and I woke up, or I came to, I should say, and I screamed at my therapist, "Why did she do this to me? I was happy, I was fine," and she said that I was one of the first people that made her really sit back and question what she was doing, because it was hard to hear a little girl who's been trafficked and raped and molested and abused her whole life scream at her that she hates her because you're making me sad, you're making me unhappy. And she had to remember why she had to do that, because I was too happy, I was too okay in life. And that's dangerous when you are living in a life of abuse. You cannot be happy and okay, and because it's not. You're going to grow up and be a predator. You're going to grow up and abuse people yourself because you don't see the wrong in it. You're welcome, Ringo. This fifth one is Genesis 50, chapter 50, verse 20. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. That one registers with me a lot, because what I went through, sorry, I'm trying not to cry, what I went through in life and now, like I said, I could have been a predator, and that really scares me. And instead, I'm able to help. And I wouldn't have been able to help if I hadn't been abused, if I hadn't been victimized myself, because we wouldn't have got it. Like, God had to send his only son in human form to understand, to truly get it, because he could not even grasp the us, because he had not been us. Like, it is just a fact. You cannot truly grasp. You can sympathize, you can imagine, you can really think you know. But if you have not lived it, you can never truly imagine or grasp it. And so when you're talking to victims, or you're talking to people who have been through something, you might sound good, your words might sound great, but if you have not truly been there, they will pick up on it. They will know, because you just haven't been there. And then how can you help them if you don't know what they're feeling? You don't know the shit to say or how to say it, because you haven't been there. And I was angry at God for that for a while too. Like, if you sent your son to understand, why do we still have to go through pain and trauma and abuse and all this stuff? Like, why are we still hurting? And I think my answer to that was, I believe somewhere in the scripture, it's because he made us a promise. that he wasn't going to do us a certain way again after the flood. And he's keeping that promise. And unfortunately, by keeping that promise, it leaves bad people. It leaves bad people here to do things. And it wasn't until, I want to say 2024. It might have been 20. I think it was 2024 that I realized nothing bad is coming from God. That thinking of, why are you still allowing this, God? Why do you still let bad people do this? Or why are we still around? Like, why didn't you just wipe us out again and start over? If you, like, even then, when you truly knew and understood humans, because your son became one, why would you have not wiped us out? And I mean, for me, I believe that that's an unfair question. Just as much as God exists, there's the evil counterpart that exists as well. And nothing bad at all comes from God. Nothing. Nothing. He didn't put you through something. He didn't make you have to go through this. He didn't do any of that for a purpose for you. The bad comes from the bad. He gave us the free will. The bad's going to exist. And whatever made it to where we could get through it, whatever healed us, whatever strengthened us, whatever that is, that was God. That's what he brought to the table. And it's easier for me to believe that way instead of that God brings the evil, because it's hard to forgive that. It really is. Like, knowing, like, you knew my whole life before it was made, so you knew I was going to go through this and you still let me. And my answer to that was no. It's not that he let me. It's he made sure that I would make it through. He knew that he gave us free will. He knew that evil, unfortunately, was coming. But he also knew that he was going to make sure I made it through. And that it wasn't going to be anything that took me.
I had to come to terms with that also.
Yeah. Yeah, that one's a hard one to...
And that was another thing I wanted to add. Midlife Crisis said a while ago. They said he will allow what he hates to accomplish what he loves.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's perfect. Exactly. Yeah, he has to allow it. I mean, if he were to, even in one situation, control it, he's taking back his word. He promised free will.
I believe he made us perfect in his image. Hairspray asked, did he make us perfect in his image? That's always confusing to me. Did he make mistakes?
Obviously none of us have that answer. My personal opinion, I think that every single soul is made perfect in his image. I think that he had what he had when he made that intention or whatever. We were made with purpose. Some babies don't make it, to birth. Some babies, they pass right at birth. Some babies have disabilities. And I think still those babies, like all those souls, they were made for a purpose. Like, you loved them for, like, my daughter I lost last year. There's a purpose. There's a reason she existed, that, and she didn't get to make it to this planet or to this earth, but she existed her life, loving her, like getting to know that she was there, and the experience I went through losing her, like all of that was the purpose for her being just created in general. And there's a good purpose behind that. I don't believe a baby is born evil. I don't. I know some people believe it's born in you. I don't. I think that is something environmental. And I think it can literally be something so simple and that's why we're missing it. It can be something so simple. Like, I don't know, letting your baby cry too long. You know, people have the crying it out method. Or you know, your kid, like your baby, saw something on the TV and you're thinking they're a baby, so they're not going to understand. You know, they don't know what's going on, but they saw it and in their little brain it registered it, you know, and as they're growing, that was in there. Like, I truly don't think anybody's born evil. And so I do think he made us perfect. And just because you have a disability doesn't mean you're still not perfect. I think we put those on people, like, you're not perfect if you don't have da 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 da, or if you have this, or if you have a disability, well then you're not a normal, healthy, perfectly healthy human being. I still think you're perfect though. You were made in God's image. Does that make sense?
That makes sense to me, and that's why I've always believed that. Because my 17-year-old little brother, when my mom was pregnant with him, they did an ultrasound one time, and it basically told us that he may or may not come out with Down syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And when they told her that, they gave her the option to abort.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't take it because she was like, well, if that's the way he's gonna be, then, like, that's fine.
Right.
Like, there ain't nothing wrong with that.
Exactly.
And he came out just fine.
Mm-hmm. Um, I'll never tell, you know, like, that's a choice for parents, and I'm never going to tell them they're right or wrong. I do understand why the option is given. It's not because, oh, they're just, you know, like, they're not going to be a healthy, normal, like, they're not going to be normal. So just,
Yeah.
you have the option to get them. It's because normally, or like, they have a higher chance if they do have Down syndrome, then they're going to be born with heart problems that they might not survive. And so that's why they give them the option, because you're going to put yourself and them through more pain, because they're going to have heart problem and they might pass. And so that's why the option's given.
Right.
I don't think I would never, you know, and I'm not saying anybody who did is wrong, like, oh, you're wrong. I'm just saying I would never, because that off chance, you know, that little off chance that this is a mistake, you know,
Exactly.
actually, you know, and nothing's wrong with them. Um, and if there was something wrong with them, then we'll face that. Same with the trisomy.
Oh, I thought you were gonna bring up Krishan.
No, the trisomy or whatever, 18 and all those.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that, like, you know, your baby's not living after a few minutes after birth.
Yeah.
I would still bring my baby to full term, because regardless of if she was going to live or he was going to live 18 years, 50 years, or 18 minutes, you know, that was their life.
Yeah.
And that is their life, and it's for a reason. So I'm going to let it take its course. I think that every baby, like, has a purpose, you know, that baby, regardless of, really, y'all, that's obnoxious. This is loud as shit. Hold on. Okay, sorry. As messed up as this, it's not gonna sound messed up. It's a tough reality. So this is a hard, I mean, like I said, it's tough to say, but that baby will bring so much knowledge to the medical field that possibly it prevents one day ever having that condition again, and no more babies are born with that ever again. And that, to me, would be a purpose worth it. You know, like, God sends us our saviors or whatever in human form. He can't reach out of the sky and grab you out of the water when you're drowning, but he can send you a boat or a life raft or whatever, and it's your choice if you take it or not. Doctors, I think, are, for the most part, not all of them, but a good doctor who is truly looking and trying to figure it out, I think, is a godsend, because he knows that that will be who can put hands on people and actually save lives. So medical, you know, issues with birth, I think, are needed. You know, they may just be godsends that we don't understand because we're not thinking on a bigger level, like, oh yeah, well, what happens to these babies? when they are passed. Some moms, do take them and they bury them, or they have their services, and a lot of them allow doctors to take them, because the doctors tell them it's for us to learn what happened, to figure it out. And that's a bigger reason that no mom is thinking about, when they're dealing with the loss and the pain. They're not thinking, well, one day, maybe even 60 years from now, no mother will ever go through this pain that you're going through again, because they figured it out. Let me read your comment. This is a great tie in Romans 5:8. Yes, I'm going to read Romans 5:8. Yes, and yes, animals can be born with deficiencies and they won't care for the offspring. But I do want to just say one quick thing about that. They won't care for it if it's a problem, like a deficiency that the offspring literally cannot survive. So even like some animals, the coloring of them, if they're born a certain like coloring, it will cause the other animals to like kill them. Like it's a, what are they doing? That is so, like, that sounds ugly. Anyways, because it will put the other babies and it will put them in danger. So when I think, because animals and humans are way different, like they are way different, obviously. In wildlife, they're getting rid of, the child or the baby as quick as possible too, because they don't want it to suffer. It's not going to suffer, and they also don't want the danger that it will cause the other babies. But because we're humans and we're not animalistic, we have more emotions, we think more, we do it differently when it's our babies. We try to do everything we can to save it, or to make it any different, or just to where it can sustain life. Some, like, they're not even living, they're all on machines, unconscious, but they're in the parent's mind living. We do that because we can. We have the options. That's where we want to. Animals are never going to do that because they don't think like that. That's not their option. So they get rid of the young that is going to hurt them. It's not because they don't like the young. It's just that's their way of doing it. A physical disability, like, what's his name? Jimothy, his mama didn't kill him because that was not going to get them killed. It was like a genetic problem or mutation, but it wasn't something that was going to affect him like in life. He was going to make it to adulthood, and it wasn't going to affect the litter. And so therefore Jimothy made it to adulthood. Does that make sense? Hey, Lion's Den. Yeah, let's see. You said you would still like to meet who midlife? Who would you? You said you would still like to meet them if you could. Are you speaking about like your babies? Like if they weren't even going to survive a minute or something? I think that's when I was saying that. Yeah, same. I'm right there with you. Regardless, I would have loved to meet my daughter. I begged them last year. And I was, because I was told I was going to die without surgery. My baby was still alive. And I begged them to let me deliver her and to let me hold her. And I was told she was too tiny. I was told that she was too tiny to hold, or that she would be too tiny. Her umbilical cord, it just wouldn't matter. Nothing would matter because she'd be too tiny. And then they killed her when they did surgery. And they didn't give her back to me. I didn't even know that was an option or a right that I had until this year when I lost another baby. And they did give me that option to get the remains. I was 7 weeks, that I did. No, I don't want those remains. But I didn't even know it was an option last year. And so when I got my reports back and I saw her foot measured 0.9 centimeters, like, she was big enough to be measured, but she was too tiny to be allowed to hold her. Yeah, Ringa, I can't imagine knowing that they're in there asleep is just, I can't imagine. I didn't know that they had botched the surgery, so for 2 weeks I carried pieces of her inside of me. But I could not imagine knowing that they're in there. But yes, I would have loved to meet my daughter or just have the chance. Wouldn't have cared, what. I wouldn't have cared anything. And I don't feel like they did anything to really try and save her. So I was just starting to get the little butterfly feelings in my tummy. So for a while, like I think I like fabricated them because I wanted to feel them. And so for a while after, I kept feeling like I was feeling them. That's what actually made me go back to the doctor 2 weeks later, because in my mind I was, for some reason, I was just like, maybe she's still in there. Maybe they didn't do it right or something, and she was still in there because I felt like I could still feel it. And I mean, I say that's God, because if I hadn't gone back, I could have went septic and died. So it's a good thing that I wanted to feel those, and I thought I was feeling them, so I went to the doctor. And I remember when she was doing the ultrasound, and she's like, well, I was like, what, there's still a baby in there? And she like, no, they're not quite. And she had to like explain to me what she meant. And that was tough. Yeah, Ringa put a picture of her twins. I made a post. All I have is a ultrasound video. It's like 30 seconds long. And that's all I have of her. And it's her little feet kicking. And so I put that on TikTok and asked people to show me who my daughter's in heaven with. And Ringa showed her twins. So I know loss is a part of life, whatever. Just, if I get buried, make sure I'm in comfy clothes and sneakers. Because I know I've got a couple of those kids up there waiting on me. I imagine, Rita. I imagine. I can't imagine. I mean, both of them too. Oh God. Um, One thing I take, like I find a little comfort in, is I don't have to ask God why. You know, this one wasn't on God. She was still alive. This was on the doctors. They took her. I can't imagine. Like, and that's peaceful for me to be able to say. Because, like, for a long time I struggled with God and why did I go through why was I born into what I was born into? So when you don't have an answer, when it's something that, like, you know, like the doctors took mine, but there's no answers for you. I can't imagine how hard that is. Um, Hairspray. It can be and it can't be. Um, there are women who that's what they want. You know, they're going because they don't want a baby. Um, they're not choosing. They don't want it because of this. It's like they truly just don't want a baby, and they're going. And they don't have any after effects. It doesn't hurt them. Um, you know, they don't really think that they're doing anything, and they're not. You know, I'm not gonna tell a woman she's wrong for getting one of those. The only time I say it's wrong is when it's a fully formed baby, you know, kicking and doing all, like, then it's at that point with no health reasons, and you just do it because now you figure out you don't. I have my opinions. I'm still not going to tell a woman she's wrong because it's her body. But there are women that have to, because, like, I've been told if I get pregnant again that I will have to, because I will not be able to. I will die if I get pregnant again. And in that situation, I would never blame a woman, and I couldn't imagine how hard she would feel going to, especially if she's like 100% against them. You know, birth control is not always 100% effective. If they don't do your tubal right, that's not always 100% effective. Like, literally, the only way 100% effective is if they take out your entire woman parts inside, or you just don't have sex at all. And those are just also both very hard things. Like, those are big. Those aren't like little things to do. Those are, like, those will fundamentally change someone for the rest of their life. And you're not wrong, midlife. Like, facing a lot, like, you don't know what you're gonna do. The most selfless thing you can do is let it go, especially if it's early on. You know, me personally, I well, I'm not ready to share that yet, but I just know situations where people have chosen different just because they're like, well, I had sex and I know what I was doing, and I don't want to use it as a birth control, because that's where I'll say it's wrong. You can't use it as birth control. You know, a once here, maybe twice, maybe even 3 times. You know, in life, you might catch yourself in a situation, and okay, But if you're doing it 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times just because you're getting pregnant, no. Then, yeah, I'm going to tell you something. But a woman's not wrong for choosing to terminate when they don't even know what life they're going to provide for that child. They might not even have a stable enough life where, like, what can they produce? You know, like like that child's going to grow up in what kind of environment? What are they going to see? Who are they going to be around? Because that child will only be a child for so long. These are going to be adults. These are going to be human beings in this world. What am I going to raise? I'm reading your comments. Hold on, let me see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially in grape situations. I would never blame you. And maybe because I see that you are regretting. Um, if it was a scenario where you were raped, don't regret that because and this might help you. You know, not even emotional, just like actual um, scientific research and studies support. They have evidence that supports that there is something genetically linked between fathers and sons in those actual like scenarios where somebody was raped, like a father raped somebody, and even a complete stranger, you know, and that woman goes on to have this child who is a son, and obviously it's a stranger, so he never knows his father. And then that boy grows up and he assaults somebody as well. And there's so many cases and so much research behind it that now they're starting to actually support it and say there's something genetically linked there. And if that little bit of knowledge doesn't help, I'm sorry, but that helped me change my opinion on, you know, the whole thing to begin with, because I used to think that it was wrong. Yeah, it's not the baby's fault. And then that stuff started coming out, and I realized, holy shit, like, no, it's not the baby's fault, but it wasn't this woman's fault either. And what if she does have a son and he grows up and he's like his father? How many more victims? How many more, you know, like, is there going to be another child born out of grape? Like, it, I'll never tell a woman in that scenario she was wrong, because you know what? Studies are actually showing you might have just made the right decision. That is something, you know, I don't believe babies are born evil, and that's something that, like, kind of,
That's what I was about to say. I was like, wouldn't that tie into the whole being born evil thing?
and that's something that counteracts my belief, and that's why it's like, I won't tell a woman she's wrong in that scenario. If you were raped, I'm not going to say I think you should, but I'm just not going to say that you're wrong if you do, because there are studies that show somehow, some way, the only connecting thing was that they were conceived by grape, you know, and they ended up being the same way when they grew up. But that is a genetic link, though. It's not like just a normal, you know, or a random two people that haven't ever had any like trauma, or, you know, they're not grapers, and, you know, like they're just normal people and they have a baby, like Jeffrey Dahmer. You know, like the parents weren't, I think they were pretty normal, you know. They might not have been perfect, but they were pretty normal. And their son was Jeffrey Dahmer. Um, but like, let's see. Who's a I don't even know a famous or infamous graper that their father was. I've got to pull it up. But, you know, this random, their father, the genetic link, like that's that's where it came from. If that makes sense. Instead of these. normal people, you don't know where the fuck that came from. It's just, you just unalive people. You're just cutting up people for, shits and giggles, or you're just raping people for shits and giggles, but it's nowhere in your family history. And I don't think that midlife should ever blame herself for that. Um, Ever. I don't think ever, 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 ever. Because I just don't think she should at all. But if the piece of information that there are studies that show that there is a genetic link to that, if that helps even relieve a little bit of, guilt off of her chest, then I'm happy to provide it.
I love what Hairspray said. She said being a girl is really hard. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Like I've understood why some women really, or some girls really do think it's easier to be a man, to so much to the point where they try to become one, because in today's world you can. um my mom, when so I was a twin, but we were not identical, so we were in separate sacks or whatever. And my twin failed to thrive at 6 weeks, and luckily he was in front of me too, because if he had been behind me I wouldn't be here. But they had to go in and remove him because he had failed to thrive, and then like actually had passed, and that decomposing and all, it would have been bad for me. But after me, then there was my little brother, then my little sister, then my mom got pregnant again. My mom has had 5 children, by the way. Okay, she would have had 6 if I had been a twin. um at that point she's like, absolutely, there's absolutely no way. Like, not even because of any medical reason, not because of grade, not because she already had too many damn kids, and she was struggling, and she made her decision, and I would never blame her. Like, you ain't wrong for that, because look what we all went through. You would have had a 6th one going through it too, and it might have just been what killed you. You know, it's okay to cry midlife.
Crying is so healthy.
It really is. It is very healthy, but it we do it does release a chemical in the brain that's very addictive.
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes, like, you're crying and you're like, okay, I want to stop crying, but you can't stop crying. It's because your brain it's releasing that chemical,
Mhm.
so you keep crying. But that's healthy. You need to keep crying. Eventually it'll taper out, as long as you let it. If you keep building it in, when that chemical is getting released, it's getting released in fucking
Mhm.
like huge loads of this chemical. And
I still remember the best cry of my life. One time, me and my therapist had a breakthrough, and I bawled all session and my entire way home.
yeah,
And sometimes you just need that.
yeah, yeah.
And then sometimes it would honestly frustrate me because sometimes we would get into these really deep, like talks, and I would feel like I should be crying, but I wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that either. There's nothing wrong with that. Um,
Your emotions are a gift, you guys.
Exactly. Your emotions are your gift, and it is absolutely normal to cry, and it's normal not to cry. You know, if you're not feeling the choking back tears, don't try to make yourself feel them. You know, that's not natural. You're inducing it. Like, it's whatever comes natural is that's healthy. Trying to trick yourself into a different feeling, that's not healthy. That's not dealing with it.
Right.
You face your emotion, fucking feel it, and then work through it.
Yeah, like the one of the last questions I asked my therapist before we ended care and everything, I asked him about my PTSD because I said I realized lately my PTSD doesn't make me panic anymore. And now I just get angry. And he said that's because that's a more empowering emotion for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He said the only thing you need to make sure of, like, it's fine to be angry. It's totally fine to get angry. You just need to be able to reel it in.
Mm-hmm. That's what I said. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to do all that. Bring it in. I said it's okay to go crazy. Hold on. Midlife. Did you? Was it chapter 5, Romans 8, or
Yeah, Romans 5:8, I think,
thank you.
that she wanted you to tie into.
Yeah, I just wanted to get that out before she has to leave. But I've for many many years have said it's okay to go crazy. Just make sure you come back.
Yeah.
You know, so but God demonstrates His own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Basically, meaning He literally died for us to be here. Like, I think
Mm.
God was probably getting ready to like sweep us back up off this earth.
Oh, and thank y'all for the gifts, by the way.
Yes, thank you. Um, I think that we as people we get so focused on judging an action that we forget that like that feeling those feelings we're having behind judging this action, there are also feelings in the person who did it.
Yeah.
Like things that we are angry about, like, abortion. There may be deeper feelings on the other end where that person may like truly regret it and want to harm themselves, and we're shouting down their fucking ear that they're wrong for doing it. And then if they go on to lie themselves, do y'all not think that you played a part in making them?
What Hairspray just said made me giggle. She said, "Good talk, girls. Support group level stuff."
Yes.
Well, we should do more of these. Not even like the church stuff is cool, but like I think that'd be cool for us to do too. Like support group, like therapy type talk.
Yeah. I said I was gonna do that when I first came out.
Hmm.
It's a little scary when you're actually confronting, like, okay, you're gonna put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe in withholding. If you're gonna be out here to help and, a therapy or whatever advice, you've got to be open and raw, or you're not helping them. And that's a big step, because it's one thing to say, like, oh, I'm a survivor of this, or I've been through this. It's another to really get down to the details of,
Hmm.
because, yeah, there's just some things that, like, it's embarrassing when you say it out loud.
Right.
And this app, I mean, it doesn't matter. They will take it and they'll fucking try and destroy you with it. No matter if they know they're fucked up for it, they might get some backlash. They'll still do it. And people giving them backlash does not take away what you're feeling when they're doing it.
Right.
So love your midlife. But I have wanted, I think I'm going to do at least once a week where I don't know if I'm going to necessarily call it like church, just because I mean, I guess church is wherever you bring the word of God, but I will always have, like scriptures that tie into it. I'm not a big religious person. I'm not religious at all. I don't know. I couldn't define one religion that I identify with solely. I think that there's stuff from literally like every religion, including like spirituality. There's stuff in everyone that I kind of relate to or agree with.
Yeah,
And
me too.
I'm just like, like I think there's a higher being. So if I read a scripture that I think I relate with that I can tie into life, then I speak on it. Um, just for the relate, like just to try and relate to somebody or try to get to somebody, not because I'm trying to push, a religious God, but I do think it's healthy. Like, don't get away that there's something out there. Maybe you don't want to call it God or whatever. Maybe God is too like good of a word because everybody hears God and thinks that he should be able to change it all. In a quick of a snap or a freaking their finger touches and boom, everything's fixed. And because he's not doing that, he must not really exist because he has the power to do that. And that's why I don't want to get into too much of a religious because I understand that feeling. I've been there.
Yeah.
Um,
And like I've told y'all before, like I've given every church I could find a chance. I've been to the Christian churches, I've been to the Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Halls, I've been to the Mormon churches, I've been to a Buddhist temple. Like I've given everything a shot.
same.
And like you just said, like there's little pieces from each one of those places that I agree with and that I believe in, and then again there's certain things I don't.
Exactly. And I think they do have churches. I think they're non-denominational churches. That's where I went. Like I got baptized. They're not a Baptist church. Like they're literally
Yeah.
they're non-denominational. They believe in God, and I can get with that. I believe in God. I don't know if that's his name. I don't know if we're supposed to call him that or her or it or I don't know if it's actually Buddha or Allah or whoever. I just believe that there is a being that is it represents the overall good and like that is who God is. And then there's bad and that's whoever that is. Like I don't know if it was God created, his other child and that child got casted out. I don't know if all of that is really true. Um, but I do believe that there was an evil counterpart because there's evil that truly does exist. I don't think it's born. I think it exists. It plants its way into lives. Um, and then I've met people that I mean that's a different topic for a different day. But I've met people that I can pose some really good, actual, valid arguments into not all people are actually fucking human.
Well, can I ask you a question then regarding that?
What's up?
So, do you think Gypsy was born evil, or do you think that was planted somewhere?
Oh, that was planted somewhere. I don't believe Gypsy was born evil. I don't believe anybody is born evil. There's
Right.
no way this tiny little baby that just came out of the womb is sitting there with thoughts of evil. Like they're not born
Yeah.
evil. Um,
I just wonder where that was embedded in her at then.
it might not even be like. because people think, well, who could have taught her that? I think, like I said earlier, we might not realize how much like everything truly does shape who we are. And we could be 2 weeks old, sitting, drinking from mama or drinking on the bottle, and we're staring at mom's watching a horror movie. But you're 2 weeks old. Mom knows you're not going to understand that. You don't even know what your eyes are barely open half the time. Like, mom doesn't think anything of it, but somehow those images are embedded in your brain now, and they will forever be a part of like a self-conscious or whatever you aren't really consciously aware of. Like our dreams, they say you see something in your dreams, you've never seen something in your dreams that you have not actually seen, whether it's a movie, in a book, whatever it is. Yeah, you might have seen like this head from your basketball coach, and then the body like could be from your mom. Like but you've seen every piece of image because your brain is not just going to see something you didn't see. And so, like, same concept. It might have been something that you saw that you would never even remember seeing. You can't consciously remember seeing this, but your brain does, and it registered it, and it's kept it, and somehow it flipped, and it did something. It can be. I really do think it's that deep. I really do think it's that fucking deep. It's something that just watching something or hearing something can change everything. But being born, no, you weren't born evil.
That's interesting. Ring of Fire said, because of trauma, I am a clairsentient empath. Church is overwhelming. I am the temple.
I get what she's saying. Being an empath is fucking hard because I mean, like, it truly is like, it's not seeing a sad story and it like shedding some tears because that's sad and whatever. It is like spending the next 2 weeks grieving like you lost your own child. Like, and you don't get to pick and choose which ones you like connect to. There's been so many stories that like I'm like, oh, that's sad, and I've cried, or seen a video and I've cried, and then there's some that like no matter fucking what, I cannot get away from. I'm literally grieving a stranger that I don't even know, and I'm like envisioning, like I'm having like visions, like I'm watching my child drown or something. Like I'm connecting to this person and feeling their fucking pain, and I don't want it, and I like have to like go through it to get away from it. It's an empath is hard to be. It really is. But I think it's a gift. I think that is why there's understanding in this world.
No.
Like, because everybody can't go through the same thing. It would be impossible. Like, could you imagine everybody having to go through child loss, or everybody having to go through their parents being murdered, or everybody like there is stuff that like everybody can't go through. And so, like I said, if you haven't been through it, you can't truly understand. And then there's those people that are empaths that truly like connect to your fucking emotion, your energy, and feel you, and like have images going through where they're like watching this go down. And they exist because then after that, they go say something in a whole different way that makes people like understand and think differently. And then that's what becomes understanding. Oh, this person is, going through hell. I can't imagine what they're going through. Because of empaths. Because people felt their pain without going through their pain. If that makes sense. Yep. Mental health too, but mental health for me is it's a touchy, because I don't think it always existed. I think that mental health is hugely, if not directly, is a product of environmental shit, like chemicals and our foods and the shit that we've taken and things that we've done by generations that we're finding now doing shit can link to our genetics. Like, I just found out you can dye your hair so much so that you can literally change the fucking coating of your hair. And yes, that is a fact. And then you have, like, you're blonde and all of a sudden you're having babies that have black hair because you dyed your hair black so much that it's like changed this coating or whatever, that where your hair would never grow back blonde. Your genetics now, like, it's not like you have a different genetic. My mom, like Kenan, I don't know if y'all noticed how, like, my mom's not, she doesn't have black hair, and uh Kennan's dad doesn't have black hair, so how the hell did his sister have blonde hair and blue eyes? And none of the family had blonde hair and blue eyes.
Yeah.
My mom used to dye her hair blonde all the time, though. Her sister dyes her hair blonde all the time, though. Like, there's certain little shit that, like, I think with mental health, it's something we did. We did something that it's changing genetics. But again, I also don't think that you were born with it. Like, your genetics, like, you were predisposed to it might be easier for this to happen considering your environment, but it's not already there because you were born with it, if that makes sense. Like, you're not born bipolar. You're not born with ADHD. You're not.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, I agree with that. And matter of fact, I know that for a fact because I was diagnosed with my anxiety when I was fucking 12. And I remember at that point, my anxiety was so bad because I was getting bullied at school. So my anxiety was really bad, but I was so young they didn't want to put me on medicine for it. And so instead, what my doctor made me do was basically drink Arizona green tea because there was a certain one with ginseng in it, and it's supposed to help you, like, relax. And so instead of medicating me at 12 for my anxiety, they just made me fucking drink ginseng tea all the time.
Crazy. Instead, like, how about remove the environment, change the environment?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because in like, inadvertently, by making you still stay there,
Mm-hmm.
it might have helped with you coping, but you still had to you experienced more bullying. You still,
Yeah.
more things were allowed to continue. Like, I don't, they focus on changing the person. It's all you. It's all in you. Instead of, like, what is your environment? What is your triggers? And then changing that and seeing if that person still has the issues.
Yeah.
Um Hold on, sound. It is odd.
Who's sound?
I don't know. They said sound. It is odd. What do you mean, Ringa? Does it, like, sound weird?
Yeah, it's like one of our speakers messed up or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Not.
But yeah, like you're not born with mental health issues. That comes with things that you experience.
Yeah. Schizophrenia, I don't think you're born with that either. And I think it's a very dangerous one that, like, in childhood, especially very early childhood, for the longest, like, back in the day, that shit was, no, you're not, there's nothing wrong with you. We don't need medicine. There's nothing wrong. Like, mental health is just now starting to be accepted. But back then, like, it was flat out ignored. And knowing what I know, like, spiritually, and the experiences from that side, like, a young child that is saying that,
Bless you. That was not sneezing.
um or like appearing that they're talking to something they're seeing or whatever. Back in the day, they would snatch their child up so quick and either take them to a doctor or tell them nothing's wrong with you, you don't see this, blah blah blah, and ignore it. And a lot of those children that the parents ignored it, and they left it alone, it stopped when they got older, or they grew into having gifts, but it wasn't like they weren't like psycho children, right? The ones that they stopped and like took to doctors and put medications and called them schizophrenic and whatever, they like grew into actual psychological problems. Like they actually have to be medicated for the rest of their life because they have it, they're seeing shit into the rest of their life. Not all cases, because I met a woman who, I think she was 21 or 20, and I'm not look, we worked at this club together, and we always would smoke before we would match one before we would go in or start our shit. And so I already had mine rolled, and I'm waiting on her to roll her. Like she's like, yeah, I'm gonna roll mine, and she's walking in the hallway for an hour. Like I looked at the clock, an hour, okay, and she's going up and down this hallway, and she's on her phone, and she's having a whole. I mean, she's been having a whole conversation for the hour. I'm like, damn, like we got like 15 minutes, and we're literally gonna start. So I'm gonna go. Like I'm waiting on you, and she's like, bitch, it's already rolled. I didn't realize for one that she had rolled it. I thought it was just a shell. I go, who are you on the phone with? She's like, what are you talking about on the phone? Yes, the fuck you are. She's like, no, I'm not. Literally was having a whole conversation, not even noticing she's on her phone. Can't give me who she's talking to. And like, that was like the first sign. I'm like realizing, okay, either she's psycho, like she's on something, or maybe she's experiencing something. And for a week straight, this woman would just talk randomly, like, and have full conversations. And I finally like convinced her, hey, you might want to go to a doctor with me. Like just go. I'm going to the doctor, so go with me. And she had an episode where she's talking randomly as fuck, and the doctor, sees it and figures out that she's actually having a reaction to a medication or some drug she took, and it was inducing a fucking schizophrenic psychosis episode that she was just going on in. And it's very common in this age, like if they're going to have the schizophrenia and they didn't have it as a child, it usually presents in women in their early 20s. And he's like, if he had been a doctor like that, he would have just given her this medication. Oh, you're schizophrenic. But he is listening, and he's like, no, this is drug induced. And he did this treatment for the drug that she did, and sure as shit pulled her out of it. And that's why I have my opinion of, I don't really know, like mental health. I don't want to say it's too, like, I don't want to say too much that it's like just normal and it's really like something that should be medicated for lifelong. I think a lot of it is we see something, ouch, we see something, fuck, that hurt bad. Oh,
What'd you do?
it was broken nail.
Girl.
Ah, it burns. But I think a doctor's quick to be like, okay, this is going to be a mental health problem. Boom, give you medications. And now it is. When it's just something environmental or something, the kid took or drank or something that this fucking body's having a reaction to. And we're not, like, it's not crazy. I think people are too quick to put a crazy label, a mental health label, because it's
Yeah.
a cop out. It's the easy cop out. It's a simple solution. Okay, we found the answer. Boom, let's do this. Instead of really searching deep, because once upon a time, and for like longer than how we've lived now, we lived and survived and kept it like evolving without all of that.
Yeah, that's true.
And we're
Like
not.
when I was diagnosed with my PTSD, they gave me the option to be medicated for it. They were like, "We can give you something for that, but like you don't have to."
Yeah, see, I was medicated for ADHD, but in second grade. Second grade,
Mm-mm.
like the school told my mom, no medication. homeschooler because I was that hyper to them. Like I
Right.
could, and but it was not until eighth grade that we figured out, oh shit, she was misdiagnosed. She's not ADHD. She has bipolar manic. That was also fucking misdiagnosed. But we didn't figure that out until adulthood. So I took a psychological medication that is meant to fuck with the like the chemicals in your brain. I was taking that from second grade to eighth grade, and nothing. It was wrong, and you don't
Right.
know that at all played any effect on my fucking brain. Or the eighth grade medication, when I'm taking the stuff for bipolar manic to mess with the chemicals in the brain for that. And that was a misdiagnosis. You really don't think that those medications did anything? They were just
Right.
not harmful at all? That's bullshit. That's why, like, I'm not this, like, I'm a big advocate for mental health as far as research, understanding. I'm not a big advocate to push medication and diagnoses. I don't think I think that that's dangerous. I think it gets us away from understanding people.
Yeah.
Like,
I can agree with that.
you know?
Because, like I said, I'm not on medicine for my PTSD. The only thing I'm medicated for is my depression and my anxiety. That's one pill. And then my insomnia and my alcoholism. The pill I take for that is supposed to help me with my insomnia as well as curb my appetite for alcohol. It's supposed to make me not want it so much.
And they gave you a medicine?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what?
But it doesn't make me sick. Like, I can drink on it if I want to and I'll be fine. But, like, it's supposed to, in the long run, not make me crave it anymore.
Right. Well, and then there's some medications that, like, mess with, like, uh, how do I put it? Like, the parts of your brain that's, like, for your body functions, not necessarily, your like your psychological part of your brain. So, like, appetite stimulants and stuff, that's something that's, like, it's not really, yes, it's messing with parts of your brain, but it's not, like, messing with the what makes you angry or what makes you anxious or what makes you, like, it's a physical body function. What's making you hungry, like, what tells your body you're hungry, that's a physical thing. What's telling you you're craving something, like, it's a physical, versus what's made, like, why are you just so angry all of a sudden, or why are you so sad, like a actual psych feeling. And a lot of these medications also fuck with the brain, parts of the brain that you don't even, like, your unconscious, or your unconscious part of your brain, that, like, the 90% that we don't use or something like that.
Yeah.
Bitch, like, that's dangerous. Like, that's dangerous to fuck with. I'm sorry. If we don't, like, if we don't register using it or whatever, why are we fucking with it?
Right. Let's go see how hot it is today.
Oh, I won't even open my curtains. That's how hot it is.
I'm like, I have to drive like 20 minutes to the dispo.
Yeah, April, absolutely. ADHD medications. So it is actually, it has methamphetamines and amphetamines in it. Methamphetamine was originally a, like, drug that was created for, I guess, good. It was a stimulant. It helped our soldiers stay up and stay alert and stay alive, basically, in times of war and shit like that. And in times when people were starving, it helped curve, appetites and kept people alive. And obviously it was turned and used for addiction because it's very highly addictive. But it is used in our pharmacies, our big pharma companies, and stuff. Like, they absolutely use methamphetamines. And, like, I was testing positive for methamphetamines and amphetamines all through second, eighth grade, because when I went through the group home and therapies, they do, when you go to juvie, they test you for drugs and stuff just because I guess it's normal. And that was where, like, that was step one. In order for my mom to get anybody to have enough time to get like somebody to look, because I was gone every day, every night I was gone. You couldn't keep me in the house. And so she knew she had to like get me put up somewhere in order to like figure it out. And so she had a judge that put me in juvie. And dude, I was there 4 days when they figured out that I had been talking to a pimp and been trafficked. So like, if those 4 days hadn't happened though, that wouldn't have ever been found. And then, of course I was given 30 fucking days for my, like, I didn't even do anything. But if I had not, it only took 4 for them to figure out something. What? That's fine. You have to check. It's in the, if it's not in the cabinet above the sink, or no, if it's not in the medicine cabinet, then it's in the big cabinet next to it, not the little one. Okay. All right. Now, anyways, when I went to juvie, like, they do a test, methamphetamines. Now, my mom had, the proof and the paperwork of why, but I knew then, like, holy shit, I'm testing positive for that shit. And now, like, even if you're in court, if you have probation, if you take any of those medications, they have to know, because that's what you'll test positive for. So yes, it will lead you to addiction, especially if you aren't taking your medications. It's normally, if you're not taking your medications, you're going to end up doing it. Yep. That's what they did. Unfortunately, April, I think that it's a system, and they know what they're doing. It's a system, and there's multiple systems. So, the medical system, whatever, they give you a kid who is hyper. God, gee, imagine that, a kid who's hyper. And they're like, oh, no, that's too much. So now we're going to put them on drugs. We're going to put them on medications. And that medication, because doctors have contracts with certain companies, like medicine companies, that they're like, oh, we'll do this contract, we'll pay you this, or we'll do this for our drug to be the first one that you offer as an option. They'll say you got 3 options. Ours will be the first one that you push. And they'll have these contracts. And it's now that drug company has a candidate. And that, all the effects when they're going through, because they always have behavioral problems. They always have like IEPs and shit like that. Now that system has a candidate. And then they grow up and they're fucking up. Now the juvenile system has a candidate. And then the juvenile system turns into the adult. Now they have a system. And the whole time, the therapy, the doctors, they've had a candidate the whole life. The whole medical system, they've had that candidate, because they put them on medication. They guaranteed it for life. I don't think it's healthy to fucking diagnose a brain that's not even fully developed yet with any diagnosis yet. You don't know. It's not done developing. So putting medication into it when you don't, it could have grew and developed and worked itself out. We've seen people that have had traumatic injuries that somehow made full cognitive recoveries because the brain is amazing. And we're just putting chemicals into it while it's not even done developing on its own and saying it's normal. That's fucking crazy to me.
It's hot, but it's not as hot as it was yesterday.
What is it today?
It's only 100 today.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't feel that bad. Yesterday, walking outside, felt like you were in an oven.
Yeah, see, hairspray. Yeah, yeah. See, I worked, before I had my youngest, I was a vet tech. And so same idea. different patients, you know, like, and I learned all about how, like, that's when I learned, like, holy shit, this is really how it goes down, huh? Y'all do the same shit with humans. You come over here, you have your little salesperson or whatever, your representative come and pitch an idea with the doctor. You know, they go do a meeting and they go in the office and they talk, whatever, and the doctor, some, if they come out and they're going to do it, the doctor have brochures and shit that they're going to give you to hand out to people. And it's just a cycle. It's just a system. It's all it is. It's insane. And yeah, that's why, like, with kids, it's hard. It's hard. And unfortunately with parents, like, kids, like, schools are allowed, they're allowed apparently legally to tell you that your kid can't be there if they aren't medicated. And trust me, I know, because I am dealing with it with my son. Like, I was given the same thing. I took it, like, I'll go to court with it, and I was told I have no legal ramification for it. It is absolutely, I can homeschool him. And unfortunately, I know my weaknesses and I know my strengths, right? And what, I'm not a teacher. Never claimed to be, never tried to be. I would not, that's not what would be the best option for my son. I wouldn't even know how to begin to learn to become a good teacher for him. Like, that's one of my weaknesses. That's where you lean on your village and you have schools. So if I'm being told, oh, well, you can put them in private school if they'll take them and you have the money for it. But charter school or public school, they can tell you no. If your child is too hyperactive or whatever, they have to be on medication. I fought it for 2 years. We tried everything. And finally the school reached, two schools too. We were on the second school and they're like, we're done. Either medication or homeschool him. And when you're in the face of, well, if I don't send him to school and I don't homeschool him, then I'm going to jail, and they're going to foster care for, neglect or whatever, educational neglect. And if I say I'm going to homeschool him and I know I'm not a good teacher, I'm failing them. They're not learning. He's not learning good. It's not what's best for him. So the only option to really make sure he gets what's best, or at least the opportunity, is to put this fucking medication in his brain and send him to fucking school. That's fucked up. Like, that is what they do to parents. So, but yeah, exactly. Private school is, and then that's not even a guarantee that they will take him. And you best fucking believe your kid has behavioral problems, that private school's taking them the fuck out. They're not letting their reputation get damaged. Those are rich kids with rich parents. Like, could you imagine if, like, Jeffrey Dahmer or what's his name? Chris Hansen. Not Chris Hansen. That's not what I'm thinking of. God damn it. Who is it that unalived his wife and kids, daughters? Shannon. I can't, why am I not thinking of his name right now? Shannon was his wife. Christopher Tucker. No, I can't remember. Christopher Watts. Thank you. Jesus, my brain.
Don't
Christopher
get me
Watts.
started on that, man.
Right. Could you imagine though, like, how much, like, if they were like, oh, he went to this, like, his life, their life biologies or whatever included, they went to this private school, and this was like this renowned, nice private school. That private school would have taken a hit. Like, they just don't, like, the character of people. And it's students. They're not gonna have just anybody's in there. Yeah, see, and those are worse. Those are called alternative schools now. Now you don't have to pay for them, and you're doing your kid a disservice by sending them to an alternative school because who you think is there? Bad kids. It ain't, that's the other kids that can't go to the regular schools. Yeah, I think, yeah, it's a village, People, life has been made real easy to just think about just focusing on yourself, mind your business, da da da. And you don't realize, like, if we just were that nosy neighbor, if we just were that Karen voice, if we were just that, like, a lot of shit really would change, like, because I'm sorry, it's not just the parents. The parents, once the kids start school, literally spends less time with the child than the teachers and the ones they're at school with, because they're at school for majority of the day and then they're at home maybe a few hours before they sleep the rest of the time and get up to go to school the next morning. So there's not a lot of interactive time with the parents for anybody to say it's the parents who raised the child. Like, yeah, maybe until they get to school, but then it's the community. It's the children around them, the teachers around them, the adults, the neighbors, the people who are actually eyes and hands on with this child. The parent is just they just, they're just the one they answer to. So, like, if people took that more into consideration, that we really are what's raising, like, our little kid neighbor that we see that, we don't pay no mind to, that's riding his bike by himself in the driveway. If we, like, were to see that and think, I'm gonna go over there and, like, play with this child and show this child, like, an adult or whatever, like, this child's home alone, you prevent a child being alone. You also are establishing for a life, like, lesson, a healthy adult, like what a healthy adult relationship would look like to a child, a stranger child. And it's a community, it's a village thing. It's not weird, it's not, like, that should be a normal thing. Children, like, you should be able to rely on thy neighbor without, helping, like, or without asking. Like, if I just see my neighbor outside or neighbor's kid outside and I don't see her, I'm going to assume she's either not home or, because her kids wouldn't be outside without her. I'm just going to go over there. I'm not going to, make a big deal. I'm not going to be a Karen. I'm just going to simply place myself there because I see it. I can do that. Or if I hear some boys cussing that I know damn well if they mama heard it, it would be a problem. Not only am I going to tell them something, I don't care if I'm your mama or not. I'm an adult. I hear it. I know that you shouldn't be doing it. I'm going to say something. And then I'm going to go tell your mama. I'm not going to keep it to myself. And that's unhealthy. Like, just being, I don't know if I'm wording it right, just being a fucking village person. Like, really just being a village person and not worried about yourself would change the world.
My bad. I was MIA for a minute. I was talking to my mom.
You're fine. Damn, it's so hot. My cats are literally laying on on the cement floor in the garage where it's cold, like, sprawled out. They're getting cool from that fucking cement. Damn. Can y'all hear that? They're fucking playing Golden. My God. I can't tell you how many times I've heard this song in my life. This and Apata. Anyways. So, I'm about to get off here, though. It was a good chat. I want to do more. I'm going to at least every Sunday do one like this. I've been thinking maybe some night ones where it's more centered around trauma and, like, victims.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Are you getting on here later tonight?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
I don't know if you ever got on live last night, but Lion's Den was like, let me know when she goes live. I was like, she said she planned on it.
I passed out. I passed
That's
out.
what I figured.
I remembered, I don't even remember what I was looking for, but I do remember because I saw that in the group chat. I remembered, oh yeah, I was looking for something, and I would like scroll to look for what I was looking for, and that was it. And I was asleep. So
Yeah, I was like, because we got off, and I remember Lionston wasn't asked in the group chat. She was like, "Is anyone going live tonight?" And I was like, "Shorty said she planned on it, but she had something she had to look up first." And she was like, "Oh, okay, well, let me know when she does." And I was like, "I will." And then like I was getting in the shower and everything, and I was checking to see if you were live, and you never were. So I was like, "Oh, maybe she just passed out." Oops.
shit, I didn't even know you. I was passed out. Like I woke up. I mean, my phone was still on my TikTok screen, so like it was. I don't fucking. I remember waking up and seeing that though, and it made me like look for what I was, you know.
Yeah.
So before I close out though, just to tie back in the topic, I'm gonna do let's see, a scripture, but ouch. What do you need? No, because it's nap time. No. If you ask me again, I'm gonna say no for the rest of the day. Thank you. Jesus.
Well,
I just don't. My laptop freaking turned off. So okay. So anyways, the it's Numbers 6, verse 24 to 26. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. Basically, no matter what you're carrying tonight, hurt, grief, anger, or questions, you're not abandoned. You know, everything's being seen. It's all for a reason. No matter how unfair that sounds. So, I love all y'all, and I will be back on later.
all right. We'll see you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.